Hi, Jonathan York, Bay Financial Partners, looking at investment markets. So far, earnings in the US have been okay. Most companies are sort of slightly better than anticipated. Although there have been a couple of misses, probably the biggest high-profile one has been Tesla. But certainly a pretty big week this week. You've got Amazon, you've got Alphabet, you've got Microsoft, and also Meta. So four of the big sort of seven tech heavyweights out there reporting this week, and it's just going to be very interesting to see what their reporting is like, and also as well their guidance going forward. Now that's obviously on the back of interest rates, really sort of ratcheting up in the US. The 10-year did trade above 5% for the first time since 2007. Although it has backed off quite aggressively since then, and it's back to 485. Two-year also has backed off. That was trading as high as 525. That's backed off now to around sort of 515. Now also as well, obviously the US really needs to sort out the sort of speaker in the House. That still hasn't been resolved yet. And, as we get sort of closer to November and that sort of expiration of the sort of debt ceiling, I really need to get that debt ceiling sorted out because, without a House Speaker, it's going to be very hard to get that corrected. And obviously on the geopolitical scene, you've still got the ongoing tensions and conflict in Gaza, and that's really starting to ratchet up now, and it's just going to be very interesting to see how that sort of plays out. And obviously still got the ongoing dispute in Ukraine as well, with Putin showing very little signs of deviating from his plan and just trying to wear the country down. And probably more importantly, wear the West's support for Ukraine down. But as we head into winter, that could be very interesting to see how that all sort of plays out as well, because certainly many of the Russian troops out there, the previous winter really didn't show the sort of stomach for the fight out there. So it's just going to be interesting to see how it does sort of play through, especially given the fact that some of the ongoing support for Ukraine is starting to wane. Well, what's slightly positive is that Chinese GDP came in at 4.9%. That's above the sort of 4.6 expected. So just maybe the sort of stimulatory measures that have been put in place there to try and stimulate the Chinese economy are gradually starting to have the impact. Now, as discussed before, oil's really backed off. It's currently around 88 bucks a barrel. Now, the UK has been hit by a pretty major storm and already sort of causing mass flooding across the country. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the repair bill will be, but also as well the damage and impact on the UK growth. Now in the EU region, as sort of discussed before, some of the support for Ukraine is starting to sort of wane out there, and it's becoming sort of increasingly difficult for the governments to keep on, sort of handing over cash month after month with little sign of any sort of resolution to the conflict. Now, in Australia, as with many other countries, long-term interest rates sort of edging up, especially on the back of those, US rates. The Aussie 10-year has just traded above 480, first time since 2011. Well, we expect to see the latest CPI from Australia out this week. That's predicted to be around sort of 5.3 for the June quarter. That's fallen down from 6% from the March quarter. And if that does show with sort of falling inflation, the Reserve Bank meets on November the 7th. So it'll just be interesting to see what sort of plays through there, because, with falling inflation, it's hard for the Reserve Banks to sort of continue that sort of inflation fight, saying we're putting up rates to fight inflation. Now here in New Zealand, what was expected to be a sort of a post-election bounce, potentially with a sort of more business-friendly national government coming in, hasn't really happened so far. But possibly that's on the back of the fact, we haven't seen all the special votes counted yet, waiting for November the 3rd for that sort of final count to come through, and then to finalise the election results. Although a couple of positive news out there. One of the banks has sort of upped the milk payout for the next year. They've moved that up to $7.25 per kg. But also as well, a little bit of movement on the housing market as well. It's quite interesting since the election. Many real estate agencies are reporting sort of increased activity, and also quite a few sold signs are going up now. Which before was taking sort of maybe sort of 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. They're sort of going up now, maybe sort of 2 to 3 weeks. And prices are starting to increase as well. So as we head into the warmer summer months, New Zealand will be hoping that, one, they have a pretty decent summer weather-wise, but also as well, the sort of tourists that are down here are sort of out and spending money. So if you are looking for income options, go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.